This afternoon's speaker for Meet Your Labor Market Needs, Provincial Immigration Programs from the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration is Leanne Bartlett. And welcome back, Leanne Bartlett. I will now hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. And yes, you're absolutely right. Immigration is very topical. Immigration is being used more and more in this province to meet our labor market and economic needs. So I work with the Nova Scotia Department of Labor Skills and Immigration, specifically with the Immigration and Population Growth branch. And immigration and population growth, very, very important to this province. And so in terms of immigration, we have two provincial immigration programs to help our province meet its labor market and economic needs. We have the Nova Scotia Nominee Program and the Atlantic Immigration Program. And I'm going to speak to both of those this afternoon. And we have these programs as a result of agreements with federal immigration, Immigration, Citizenship, and Refugees Canada. And having these agreements with the federal government gives us, this province, a say in who we want to immigrate here, who we want to immigrate here to work in our businesses, live in our communities, and contribute to our economy. Through our programs, we nominate or endorse candidates, and then the federal government, they have the final say in who gets their permanent residency. The immigration system in Canada is big. It has different classes, and where we engage in immigration in Canada is under the economic class. So individuals, foreign nationals, are selected based on their ability to economically establish in this country. So they either have a job offer from an employer here, or if they don't have a job offer, they have skills that are in demand. Under the economic class, as I've mentioned, we have our Nova Scotia Nominee Program and the Atlantic Immigration Program. With our nominee program, there's 9 different streams or categories, each with their own eligibility requirements. And so I'm going to focus on occupations in demand and international graduates in demand, because those 2 streams target the occupation of CCA. And the process is, you as an employer offer a foreign national a job as a CCA, or maybe you already have someone on staff working as a CCA and they have a valid work permit to be able to work for you. So that individual with that employment or a job offer as a CCA would apply to our office. And on our website, there are application guides for each of our different streams. So the individual would use the application guide to ensure they understand what the eligibility requirements are. And generally, the eligibility requirements are around age, education, work experience, language ability, and financial resources. And then, of course, that job offer as well. And the application guide also explains the application process and what documents the individual must include in their application to us. And their application must include specific documents from you, the employer, offering them the job. The candidate submits a complete application to us. It could be under occupations in demand if they're eligible. It could be under international graduates in demand if they're eligible. If they are nominated by us, then they apply to the federal government for permanent residency. And because permanent residency, the processing time is long, the individual, if they need to apply for a work permit, can also apply for a work permit so that they can be here working while they're waiting for their permanent residency to be processed by the federal government. So the nominee program, we call it a candidate-led program, meaning the candidate leads the application process with our office. Alternatively, we have the Atlantic Immigration Program, which we call an employer-led program. It's a completely different approach to immigration in Canada. It's the employer who leads the application process with our office. And CCA occupation, the CCA occupation is certainly an eligible occupation under the Atlantic Immigration Program. And the general process is this. As I said, it's the employer that leads the application process with our office. The first step is an employer applies to become a designated employer. It's like you are registering with our office to be able to use the Atlantic Immigration Program to recruit and retain foreign nationals. You are approved as a designated employer. You're doing your recruitment, your job advertising. You've exhausted the local labor market. You actually find individuals who are in other countries that you would like to employ, or maybe, as I mentioned before, you have a foreign national on staff already working as a CCA and they have an appropriate work permit. You decide who you want to support through AIP to get their permanent residency. And for each individual that you want to support, you would submit an endorsement application to our office for that specific individual. And the endorsement application would include various documents, including the job offer, of course. And there will be a settlement plan that the candidate will actually get from a settlement service provider. There is mandatory training that the employer must complete, and that information must be in the endorsement application as well. If the endorsement application is approved by us, then that endorsed candidate can apply again to the federal government for permanent residency and a work permit if required. So essentially, it's 3 main steps, although there's many steps within each, but 3 main steps. First 2, employers working with our office. If all goes well there, then the endorsed candidates apply to the federal government for permanent residency. I want to mention this, so international recruitment. So something that our office does, in addition to, administering our 2 provincial immigration programs, we physically go to market and raise the Nova Scotia flag and promote Nova Scotia as a immigration destination, promote the lifestyle, promote job opportunities here. And so after 2 years, a delegation from Nova Scotia, including people from our office and people from the Health Association of Nova Scotia, physically went to Singapore, Dubai, and the UK, and it was a healthcare mission. And the focus of the mission in Singapore and in Dubai was recruiting continuing care assistants. And so the Health Association of Nova Scotia, they have on staff 2 immigration consultants and a licensed recruiter. And as a result of that mission, they actually, the Health Association of Nova Scotia, actually extended conditional job offers to over 80 candidates. So moving forward, if you are interested in participating in, not only do we have international recruitment events, we have domestic recruitment events as well. So next weekend, April 30th, there is a delegation from Nova Scotia going to Toronto for a Canadian recruitment event. So not only do we want to recruit people from other parts of the world, we want to attract Canadians and immigrants in other provinces to relocate to Nova Scotia. So moving forward, as I mentioned, if you're interested in participating, like physically going, or maybe you're not able to physically go for, because time and financial resources, you can give us job postings that we could take with us to promote. And we're also interested in knowing from employers, like, what markets do you think would be beneficial for you to find talent? So we've been to Singapore, we've been to Dubai, we've been to the UK, but what other potential markets could we be looking at for talent in healthcare? I'm part of the employer support team at Immigration and Population Growth. So on a daily basis, I'm working with employers across the province from Yarmouth to Northern Cape Breton and talking to them about what their labor market needs are and figuring out how they can use our provincial immigration programs to recruit foreign nationals for the jobs that they have available. Immigration can be complex and daunting, and people just don't know where to start. Well, we're a starting point. The employer support team at our office is a starting point for you. It's myself and Mary Jo McKay and Tanya Mayer who are part of this team. And not only do we want to recruit, attract more immigrants to Nova Scotia, we want to retain them. So retention is also very important. And we fund settlement service organizations across the province to provide programs and services to newcomers and their families to help them integrate and be successful. And these supports also help for you to retain employees. I will leave it at that. Again, employer support team. I can give you my direct email and my direct telephone number because I think that would be helpful. And I'm happy to have like one-on-one meetings with any of the employers that are on the line. We can have a telephone call, a virtual meeting, whatever the case may be.
So thank you again, and everybody have a great day. Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.